Welcome to Module 2. Module 2 is all about self-compassion and self-care contributing to well-being. In this module, we will first be zooming out to look at overall well-being and then zooming in to focus more closely on a large component of well-being, self-compassion and self-care. And in Module 2, Video 1, we're going to start with well-being.
So, my very favorite description of well-being comes from Dr. Gutstein, who's the founder of RDI, which stands for Relationship Development Intervention. And I'm going to just share this quote quick so that we can all see it. There we go. So, Dr. Gutstein talks about well-being in this way. He says, well being is measured by how you feel about your life, regardless of level of functioning. Well being comes from within. It's a personal understanding, a self acceptance, and a self awareness that no matter what arises out of this complex, dynamic world, I have within me the means to self manage my well being with calmness and stability. I'm able to make my own decisions and influence my life and navigate any changes or challenges that come my way. So, when I was looking at this description of well being and thinking about it, Alicia, I was thinking about how um, well being we sometimes hear, well-being is, do I have enough financial stability? Do I have, am I happy? What is my social life like? Do I have time to do the things I like? Like there's a whole bunch of pieces that go into that well-being. But really, when we kind of zoom out and look at it, deeply, well-being is really more of a state of mind.
Yeah. Um, and it's kind of subjective. Because objectively, from the outside, someone could be very well off or have a lot of resources. Maybe they're financially well off or they seem to have everything together, but subjectively, they may feel very differently about that. It could be the opposite way too, where from the outside looking in, maybe somebody doesn't have a whole lot, but subjectively, their state of mind could be, they've got abundance. They feel very, very good with what they've got. So it's really all about the way that you perceive things and the way that your state of mind.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Um, so when we're thinking about well-being, we are really going to be doing a lot of thinking about our state of mind. And if we think about our state of mind, that is very much affected by how we feel about ourselves. And so you'll see how we have developed this workshop very much leads into thinking about yourself. Um, I'm going to stop sharing this one, and I'm just going to say that I'm going to share a different thing here. There we go. Okay. So in psychology today, I Dr. Davis was saying that well-being is the experience of health, happiness, and prosperity, and that it includes good mental health, high life satisfaction, a sense of meaning or purpose, and the ability to manage stress. And that is highlighted, the ability to manage stress. But more generally, she says well being is just about feeling well. And she suggests that there are these 5 types of well-being. And so I've screen shared them right now. The types of well-being that she has broken life into are these 5 things: emotional well-being. So that's the ability to practice your stress management and relaxation techniques, be resilient, um, boost your self love, and generate emotions that lead to good feelings. So that's what she puts under emotional well being. And then under physical well being, she talks about the ability to improve functioning of your body through healthy living and good exercise habits. And then under social well being, she talks about the ability to communicate, develop meaningful relationships with others, and maintain a support network that helps you overcome loneliness. And workplace well being, the ability to pursue your interests, values, and life purpose in order to gain meaning, happiness, and enrichment professionally. And then there is societal well being, the ability to actively participate in a thriving community, culture, and environment. Something that was a really big aha moment in my life when I have been diving deep into well being was something I heard Tony Robbins describe from the work that he has been doing with thousands of people. He has found that all humans have 6 basic needs, and I'm going to just screen share those right now. And these needs contribute to your well being based on how well they are all fulfilled and balanced in your life. And it also, depending on which ones you hold higher, will affect how you relate to everything in your life and how you deal with everything. So, these basic needs, the first 4, so certainty, and uncertainty or variety, significance, and then connection and love. Those 4 are very basic to our needs, and they need to be fulfilled first before we can really actually have the other 2, which are growth and contribution. So I just wanted to highlight those because it will for those of you who are interested in diving even deeper into, your own human needs and where you see those 6 in your life and how they might be affecting your emotional well-being or your physical well-being or your social or workplace or societal well-being, they will all have an effect on how you see those things and in how you participate in life. So I encourage you, if you're interested, to just check out the resources and dive a little deeper into those 6 basic human needs. But for today, we're going to dive into something that I call or that I learned actually, I saw it with Tony Robbins, but I also saw with my naturopath. It's the wheel of life. I'm curious, and please post about this if you yourself have had experience with the wheel of life. I found it really helpful in discovering the areas that I need to focus on to support my own well being. How about you, Alicia? Have you had experience with it?
Yes. So about, I want to say about 8 years ago now, when I first went to a naturopath, she had me fill out a wheel of life to figure out where I was at, give her an idea of where my baseline was, and give me a view on what was happening for me. Because I initially went to the naturopath because at the time, I just thought I was a person who had all sorts of different anxiety about absolutely everything. And a person, I also had lots of digestive issues. So those were the issues I kind of went to the naturopath for. Um, and so it was helpful to map out where I was at with the wheel of life. And eventually it led me on a whole journey of figuring out lots of different things, but it started with that wheel of life. And so I think it is really helpful to map it all out.
Okay, so we should show you what we're talking about. I'm going to screen share a wheel of life example. So here's an example. Let's see if I can put that in. Wheel of life. There. Can you see that pretty good, Alicia?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So this is what a wheel of life, a completed wheel of life might look like. So I'm going to show you about this a little bit. Okay. This actually I completed on the a resource. It's a resource in our resource list. You can just hop onto the internet and complete your own wheel of life. And um, but also we have a fillable one so that you can complete. So that is in module 1 under resources. But what I want you to see is you should download yours and or draw one. You can also draw one, which is okay too. But you can see that well, it's maybe hard to see on this picture, but there are actually 10 rings on the wheel of life. And what you do is, and there's several sections, and you can actually cut it into as many sections as you wish. But the point is that you name each of the sections. So in this one, you can see that there's a section for friends, for fun, for money, for family, for spirituality, love, career, and health. Those are the sections that are the ones in the resource that you can find online. But you can create your own and fill in sections based on what you think is important in your life. So it could be either the different roles that you have in your life, like my role as a mother and or parent, my role as a teacher or clinician, my role as a spouse, a daughter. Like you can fill it in for roles, or you could fill it in on themes. And this one is based on themes. So if you're filling on themes, I recommend that one of your sections should be a segment on self-compassion. So then once you have that filled out, then what you do is you give each segment a score based on your level of satisfaction in that area. So for example, this person gave fun a score of 6 and then filled in, you can on your own, it'll fill in that, you can fill in the color up to 6. And then money was a 7 and family was a 10. So you fill in your wheel. And in the end, you get to see what your wheel of life, where you, in the areas that you feel are important to you, how each one compares to the other and kind of the gaps that are in that wheel of life. And what I find really interesting is if you attach your wheel of life, let's say, because it's a wheel, and you attach it to a bike or maybe your car, you can kind of figure out if it's going to be a smooth or bumpy ride. And that's really how your life is then, is kind of like what your wheel looks like. And this wheel here is a little bit bumpy, I'd say. There's some smoother parts, but then it gets bumpy. So you can see, you can kind of get a look at how you yourself are feeling with your life in this moment. And then it helps you to identify areas that you might focus on that make the life a little less bumpy, maybe a little more balanced ride. Now, if you have several areas out of balance, and I'll just say most of us do, and that's okay. It just gives you an idea of where you might want to prioritize, right? So, in this wheel of life, the fun piece has a really big gap compared to all the others. So, maybe if this person were to focus in on what might be fun in life and thinking about the fun aspects and focusing on that, maybe the ride will be a little less bumpy. Does that make sense how I explain it? I think we just have to see that like it's so good because it looks at how am I looking at life? And if I'm a little bit feeling unbalanced, this might be an area to focus in on. And so, even making small little changes in a segment that you're focusing in on can create more balance. And that's the cool thing about this.
I love the Wheel of Life because it simplifies whatever categories you're looking at. And you can individualize it and you can really get a visual of where to work on. Because if you're working on everything all at once, you can get overwhelmed really easily. So it kind of focuses your attention on where it needs to go first. So I love the Wheel of Life. And we invite you to do a little reflection. What are the segments of your life that are most important to you? We invite you to complete your own wheel of life and determine the areas of focus that would create a more balanced life for you. And so you can download your own copy of the Wheel of Life. You can find it back in Module 1. You can draw your own. You can go online. I think we have a resource where you can take a quick Wheel of Life assessment. So you can do that too. Um, yeah, so we invite you to try it out.
So, as you see, there are so many components of well being and things that you would focus on or could focus on. And it really is determined by you. So, we just wanted to show you this big wheel of life and show you all those different components, but also to think about right now. Um, our month is a focus on self compassion and self care, and we chose this very carefully because those two things really do affect and infiltrate all the other segments on your wheel of life and in your well being. Because, as we said way earlier, well being actually is a state of mind, and how you feel about yourself matters in your well being. And so it matters for every single segment. So that's why we chose to focus closer and deeper into that self care and self compassion this month. But you may find that there is something else that you want to focus in on in based on your own wheel of life, and that's okay. So we're going to move forward though with that self compassion. And in doing that, I want to suggest a couple of things. One is to think, as you think about self compassion and self care, think about this possibility that life is not about getting to a destination or an end goal, but rather it's a process of becoming. Philosopher Alan Watts explains in a beautiful video that we have a link in the resources. He explains that life is not a journey, and it really made me think when I heard that, because so often I say, well, life is a journey with each other, right? I call it a journey, and yet he made me really think, Life is not a journey. So then, if life isn't a journey, what is it? And in his video, he says, life is like music. It isn't something that we want to rush through to get to an end destination. Like a journey, there is an end destination that we're trying to get to, but that we need to view life more like music. It's something here and present and to enjoy. And I just thought that was a beautiful way of looking at life. So I encourage you to watch, listen to his speech on that, and the link is there. And then I want to leave you with one of my very favorite quotes from Alan Watts again, and it is, "The real secret to life, to be completely engaged in what you are doing here and now, and instead of calling it work, realize it is play."